What is perception? Today in this channel we are going to discuss about perception, how our brain senses and organizes that information so that we can have certain prediction about the thing. So here we just don't talk about the perception, we also talk about the sensation because without sensation, perception is not possible. So you can look at the figure when we see certain thing for the first time, what happens to our brain? It takes all the information from our sensory organ and then that message is organized in our brain. And next time when we see similar thing, we are able to identify that because we have already organized the information about that particular thing. So here comes the topic perception. Perception is the process by which the brain organizes, interprets and selects sensory information in order to understand the environment. So it is the bridge between external world and our internal reality. Without perception, the signals from our sense organ, that is eyes, ears, skin, and tongue, would just be meaningless noise. So if we just sense and if we don't perceive, there is no meaning of our sensation. Sensation versus perception, the critical distinction. To understand perception, we must first distinguish it from sensation. They are two halves of a single process. Firstly, there is sensation, then only there is perception. Sensation. It's like a raw data. It is the physiological process. It happens when physical energy from the environment stimulates sensory receptors. Example, light waves, sound waves, chemical molecules. These are the physical energy. And these physical energy from the environment that stimulates our sensory receptors like hitting our retina, vibrating our eardrum, and landing on our taste buds. So once this physiological process happens, then only there is other process called perception, that is the interpretation of the raw data. So this is the psychological process. Sensation is the physiological process because we happen to stimulate from sensory receptors from the physical energy, whereas in perception, this is the psychological process because it happens in the brain and it is the cognitive act of making sense of that raw data. Like recognizing that a specific pattern of light hitting our retina is our mother face. So when we see our mother face for the first time when we are newborn to till date, we are able to recognize our mother face. Why? Because we have already interpreted that raw data. So recognizing the sound of vibrating our eardrum is our favorite song. Like if we listen to some song and if it's our favorite, how we are able to identify it is our favorite song because of the sensation and perception. How perception works. So, perception is not a passive reception of the reality, it is an active construction of it. The brain uses two main types of processing simultaneously to create our experience. So, how our perception works? It works from the bottom up processing and top down processing. So what is bottom-up processing? This is also known as data-driven. So it starts with our sensory receptors and works up with the brain integration of sensory information. That means when we see apple for the first time, we happen to recognize it is round, it is a bit round, it is red in color, and it is small in a structure. We try to identify it through our sensory receptors and we try to create image in our brain. We take the individual pieces of stimuli and combine them to form a unified perception. So when bottom-up processing happens, when data is driven, Now, what happens here? You can look at the example as well. When we look at the strange abstract painting, we notice lines. If you see in this figure, we notice the lines, colors, and shapes. Slowly, our brain pieces these together to realize, oh, that's a sailboat. So if you don't know about this figure and if you ask with your elder person, what is this? They might tell you like it's a boat, it is sailboat. Now what happens from this whatever the perception we have gathered from the raw data, this goes to our brain. So next time when we see it, we are able to say, okay, this is the sailboat. Why we are able to say this? Because the process where our brain has already realized this image. Top-down processing. This is concept-driven. So this occurs when we construct perception, drawing on our experience and expectation. Our brain uses pre-existing knowledge. So when we see a sailboat again, we are able to identify it because we have already organized the information in our brain to interpret incoming sensory information quickly. So, we are trying a paragraph about the perception. If we just look at the mistakes, that is bottom up, they are missing, meaningless, right? But because we know the context of the sentence, that is top down, our brain predicts what the words should be, allowing us to read it. You can try with me reading this paragraph. Let us start. So, some spellings are mistake, but I think we can read. Like, this is the process of perception is complicated. Here, even in perception, spelling is mistake, but we are able to read it. Our brains. So, spelling is mistake. Our brains try to make make sense of the raw sensory data that they receive. But sometimes do the various factors like attention and context, our interpretation of the reality can fooled or flawed, resulting illusions and mistakes. It's a fascinating field of study. So many spelling are mistake, but what happens is we have already information about the raw data. So we are able to make this paragraph meaningful. But if a student who is studying in class 1 or 2, they might not be able to read it, right? Because they may not have such information in their brain to perceive this paragraph. So here what happens is as we grow up, because of our pre-existing knowledge, we can know about things because of our perception. Thank you so much for listening to this video, watching this video. If you want to know more about this topic, you can go through the following references. Also, if you like this video, please like the video, and if you like this channel, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.